Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about how to 10 times the amount of reviews your PPC campaigns and the customers you generate from your PPC campaigns will produce. This is a supercharged method of being able to just ask your customers or clients or whatever you have that you get through your PPC campaigns for a review, because guess what? Just asking, or as you already may know, doesn't get a high compliance rate. Yeah, I'll do it. Maybe and then you send them the link, they don't do it, or yeah, okay, sure, I'll get around to it. Very few people that you even ask for a review, if you're just leaving it to chance or you're winging it, will actually give you the review. Very small percentage. This method here is going to make sure every single person you want a review from, you basically almost already get it. We've got it to the point where 10 to 20% of your customers will give you a review if you follow the method that I'm going to give you here on this video. This is a tested working method that our clients are using. Not all of our clients are this sophisticated, but certainly a few of them are, and the really smart ones, I should say, are, because this is going to make you a bunch more money, considering the more reviews you have for your business, to a limit of course, the more money your PPC campaigns are going to make, and which is why I brought this up and this strategy up in this particular video, and given this channel is about PPC money-making strategies as a whole. So this is a way to make your PPC campaigns considerably more profitable, stemming from putting an action plan in place to get you more reviews from the customers your PPC campaigns get you in the beginning, and build those reviews up and get more customers. The more reviews you get, the more of a conversion rate you're going to get on your campaigns, therefore the more money you're going to make on your PPC campaigns. So anyway, with all that said, I'll get right into the method here and let you know how you can be able to bolt on a review process for your business to get 10-20% of the people who buy to leave you a review. Here we go. So here's the process. You first of all are going to, in the first step of the process, doing the normal course of through the normal course of business that you have, ask customers on the call, or basically in person if you're doing an in-person sale, they're coming into your store or shop or whatever, before the actual sale is made. You are going to ask that particular person, prospect, would you be willing to leave us a review if you like our product or service? Depending if you offer a product or service. And the reason, so the distinction here is you don't actually ask a review from a potential customer or from a customer or client or whatever itself after you've delivered the service. You actually, at least to start with, or with the first step of this plan, you're asking them before they're even a customer. The reason for this is because everybody says and are willing to claim they'll give you the world if you just give them a really good product or service or results or experience or whatever. And just to give you a funny analogy to that, as it comes to this, I always joke all the time. I run a PPC agency here. We got people coming in, and they'll basically, come in and say, Corey, I'll get down on my knees and I'll kiss your feet if you give us a working PPC campaign. Note that this is a little bit different market, where most PPC companies are just a straight up fraud or ripoff. You're talking about 90% of the people who do PPC work for people they're scams. Or at least they are not doing very much work, because most people think PPC services should be cheap and just pay 10% of spend, and then the PPC company gets like $300 a month, and they're supposed to get you phenomenal multi-million-dollar ad campaigns for your business for $300 a month. And if it was that simple and cheap, the PPC companies themselves would be in business for themselves doing what you do. Sorry, but this, newsflash, this is actually kind of the reality. So anyway, as it comes to the topic at hand here, people will come in and say, Corey, I'll do anything if you could just give us the results. I've also, picked up then, of course, if you're going to ask for something, you might as well ask at that particular time. They're the most open to anything you're going to ask for them at the time of discussing that end result that you're delivering to them. And with that, can get them sort of quote unquote locked into something that you would like to ask for them potentially later. Respectively, and that goes for everything. You could have, I've heard people that at work, they say, if I get you X, can I get a raise? And then the person, of course, is going to say yes because they want the result. And then later on when you get the results, it's hard for them to wiggle out of that. We've done the same thing with our agency and the guaranteed services we provide. If we get you $50,000 more in sales a year, will you give us another $5,000 in PPC fees? And everybody says yes to it at the time because they don't think the results are, it's not tangible, it's not real for them. But later on, you've got yourself lined up for something of which if you ask later, do the same exact results, give them the same exact results, ask them later, way less likely to do what you want them to do, or get paid. You could ask for the same money, but without lining that up and getting them to pre-commit to it up front, asking them for the same amount of money later, it's just not going to happen. Just flat out. So anyway, enough with the analogies here. You're going to start off in the sales process. Of course, a good salesperson is going to, even if they're calling in and asking questions, and you get to talk. If you have an e-commerce site, you don't get to talk to people. Of the ones that do come in that you get to talk to over the phone that ask questions, you start asking them like, what's your situation? To assess that product or service, is it going to fit good for their needs? And then you could say, if this product or this service could get you those results, would you buy it? If they say yes, and then you come in, okay, I know the product or service can do that. Are you willing to leave us a positive review if it gets you those results? Yes, I will. Of course, this doesn't work if you have a shitty product or service here, but for you guys that have products and services that work, you ask that question at that time with that person, you've lined up for yourself a review later on down the line. Now, there's still more work you got to do in order to get the review, but that's the time you should start the actual process of getting the review, not waiting until after the service or product is delivered, because people don't think they owe you shit. They've paid you for the product or service. They don't owe you anything. They don't like writing reviews because it takes some time and effort. They're lazy. They're bored with the process. They're tired from work. They don't want to do it, no matter if it takes them 30 seconds to write the review or not. This is just the reality of it. And we know this because, we work with a lot of companies that try to ask for reviews, and it's hard as hell to get the reviews. Even if you try to ask for the review after and do that with a lot of people, you're still going to have trouble getting reviews, which is why we have this method here where we've worked out the kinks in getting a high compliance rate and getting the reviews in the first place. So anyway, you ask for the person to commit. Okay, Johnny, you want to lose 30 pounds. Great. If we get you this service and we lose you 30 pounds, will you buy? Yes. Okay. Would you also be willing to give us a review after that, to claiming that, you lost 30 pounds so we can help other people like you lose 30 pounds or similar amount of weight as well? Yes. Then you go in for the kill later on. So you wait for the delivery of that product or service, and of course have enough time for the results to come in if it's delayed results. And at that point, now you need an opportunity to get in touch with that person. Where a lot of people I think for sure go wrong is they don't actually follow up with their customers after the product or service is delivered. Some people you always have to, of course, but for you guys that don't have to, you send a product. Why are you guys not calling the person and say, is there anything, did you enjoy, or is there anything else wrong with the product, or did everything meet your expectations? It's similar to like how a waiter goes up to your table. Does everything meet your needs? If they didn't come to you, you wouldn't ask for that extra napkin or that extra dessert or whatever, and it provides opportunities not just to have higher satisfaction rates, and so therefore you're going to get they'll tip the person more, but they're going to do upsells, cross sells. You get a dedicated person in your company that's all they do is just call every single customer that buys from you through your e-commerce site or what have you, and ask them, did everything meet their needs? Of course, it can open a can of worms if you have, again, a shittier or mediocre product or service, if you will. But if you have a great one, this is a great method to be able to open up more revenue. You get that, and it doesn't have to be a salesperson. It could just be a receptionist that's sitting there anyway, waiting for calls. You ask them that, and then they say, yeah, it was all right. It's good. And then you can, if you have ancillary products or services, then you could talk them into the next thing on that call. And so, even if you can talk 5% of them into an additional upsell or cross-sell, that's a lot of extra money. But in this particular situation, it's about the reviews. So if you call them up and ask them, is everything adequate with your order? Did everything work fine? Then that leaves them open to say, yeah. Or in other words, it gets them to admit that the product or service delivered what and as it was advertised in the sales process. So you can see kind of where I'm going with this. Yes, Corey, it was, it actually did work the way that you said it would work, respectively. And if the same person actually that calls them back and asks them if everything was okay with their order, with the person that actually sold to them and asked them if they could, we could get a review, or if they could get a review from them, then you could say, okay, great. Well, will you leave us a review? I know, Sarah, when we talked initially and I said it would be able to get you these results, you would leave us a review. You're telling me now that you got a great, result, and it matches up with what I told you. I delivered here for you, or I knew the product that you needed to get these results. I gave you the right advice here. Will you leave us the review now? And they're going to feel ultra guilty saying no to your request because you asked them before, and they feel like they definitely owe you one. Versus if you ask them after, even if the product or service delivered what it was advertised, they don't feel like they owe you a review because everybody asks them for a review. You asked them up front, and again, this works better if you're if the same person asks them for the review before they buy is the person asking them if their order was okay, and then asking them, following up and saying after that, okay, everything was good. You said you would leave us a review, and I talked to you the first time, because they're going to feel more guilty saying no to the person who initially asked them for the review versus saying, obviously, James said that when he talked to you, he said, that you would leave us a review. The guilt factor doesn't kick in. So that's basically what you do. Okay, the results were good. You said you would leave me a review, Sarah. Will you, do it? And then what you also want to do is say, it'll only take, 2 minutes or 1 minute or some short period of time. So they know, because the reason why people don't leave reviews is because it takes effort and time, and no matter how little effort it takes, it's still stuff that they don't feel like they owe you, again, to be able to have to do that, regardless of it taking only a couple minutes. But if you put a time limit on it, psychologically, people are more likely to commit when they know that what they're going to get into is not going to take as much time versus being an open-ended thing. Maybe I'm going to get it and it's going to be complicated. No. It'll only take you 60 seconds to leave the review. Yes, you said you would promise to, give us a review if that product did what you said it needed to do, and that I recommended it to you. It'll only take you 60 seconds to leave the review. Will you leave it? Yes. Okay. I'll send you a link. You'll get, by the way, more of a compliance rate if you text. You definitely want to text people you're asking for the review, because people don't check email and it's not quickly accessible. But anyway, going forward there, you ask the person after they buy, is everything okay with your order? Okay, will you actually, give us the review now that you promised us? Going into step 3 now you send users a link saying to leave you a review, okay, through text messaging. If you can do it, if they can't do text, do email because that's your only option, right? But text is really preferred, and here is why. You can text them the link, and it's always a link that you're going to want to text them. Don't send them to Google, search and say, or go to Google and type in our business name, and then see the, place with the stars next to it, and then click on this or click on that. Way too complicated. You're going to have shitty response rates doing that. You need to send them a link that when they click on it, all that pops up is a screen to leave a review. So they don't have to fucking think at all. If you want 10 to 20% of your customers to be able to leave you a review and get these monumental results that I'm seeing other people at our agency get when they use this model. So with that, you text them the link, okay? If you also want to do better here and get the 10 to 20% for sure for your business, you want to add in this extra piece here, which is you're going to pre-write the review for that customer in what, basically you want them to say and what they would want to say basically themselves. So with that said, what I mean is, okay, again, the ideal thing is the same person works with the person both before they buy and then after they buy. Initially, before they buy, getting them to pre-commit to a review, and then later on, ask that same person, asking them for the review after they admitted that everything was good. Texting them a link. You text them a link to where to leave the review, and then that same person, because they've spoke to that person, of course, all the way and been with them all the way through the sales process, but even if they were just there for the last step, what that person said about, when they were asked, how is everything with your order, they listened to what that person said. They said, yeah, everything was great. We actually brought the kids out and they really loved it and blah, blah, blah. You can actually take that, and if you record the call with your phone systems, you can actually, if you don't remember exactly what was said on the call or just wanted to concentrate on the call, you listen to what they said, and then you type out a response in which you would think that they would want to or would put together, framing it and revolving it around what they actually said about your product or service and how everything came out when they went to use it, and was everything okay, did they think everything was okay? So when you text them a link, you could say, hey Sarah, here's the link to leave the review. I actually typed up a review for you knowing already what you probably might want to say. So to save yourself time, you could just copy and paste this into the link and hit submit. If you're fine with that review, that's all you got to do. It'll take you 30 seconds. You're done. Again, only 30 seconds. You're going to keep saying this is so easy. This is not going to take you a long time. So before they even click on the link, they know, it's not. They already know it's not going to take a lot of time. And so anyway, this prevents them from having to type anything, because actually, as you write a review, it does take you a decent amount of effort. People that don't write for a living, especially, and a lot of people can't type fast. This might take them 5 minutes to come up with a review. They're watching TV, and when you call them, they were watching TV, and then they hung up the phone and said, I ain't gonna leave a fucking review, because again, they don't want to. It takes effort. They've done it before. They know it takes effort. They're lazy. If that's all they got to do is copy paste your thing into the review spot, you're going to get a much higher obvious response rate because of that, because they don't have to do anything. They have to click, paste, they're done. I mean, back in the day, we used to even have a software where you could send somebody a review and all they had to do is hit an OK button. And I just still can't find another software that does that. So if you guys know of one, I would have really, really appreciated it if you could give me that information. But the ultimate certainly would be click the link. I've already pre-written you the review. You'll see your review on the other side of this link. You click the link. It has the review there, and it should say, approve, or you can obviously edit the text. That would take the least amount of effort, therefore going to get you even the higher or the most response rate of all in terms of the rate in which you get the review from the prospect that you want or customer that you want. Well, that's what you do there. Pre-write them a review, send it to them with the link, telling them you can just use the review that I wrote for you, or you could type your own. Most people, by the way, will just use your pre-written review, or they'll slightly change it. Why? Because it's just, again, this is easier. They don't really give a crap. And because you were listening intently on the phone call, you already know what they would say anyway, and you're not twisting anything. Why would they type up their own thing? Particularly as you are a good writer, you're a good copywriter, you know how to write things well, and you're probably then going to be a better writer than them, so they're not going to, take a stab at it because they're going to know they can't do better than you anyway. Anyway, so that's the third step. Now the final step involved in this process, respectively here, is to ask the user if the link worked. Now this is the key part. Even after all this setup that I just gave you, if you and even that when you send the text to them, you just got off the phone with them, they confirm that they would leave the review, you text them, still a lot of people aren't going to do anything. So what you're going to do then, if they don't leave the review, which you got to monitor if they leave the review or not, within 5 minutes of sending the text. So basically, you're on the call with them, confirming they'll leave the review and making sure everything was okay with their order on step 2 like I gave you. You're going to type up the review as quickly as you can so that you don't have to waste time from the time that you asked them if they would leave the review and the time that you text them the review link. Because the more time it is, the less of a compliance rate you're going to get because they're going to be on to other things potentially. When you send them the link, you're going to wait 5 minutes after that. And if they don't leave the review, you're going to call them right back 5 minutes after. So basically, hopefully 6, 7, 8 minutes after you talked to them last time, you're calling them back if they haven't left the review for you yet. And ask them, hey, Sarah, I noticed you didn't leave the review. Is there something wrong with the link? And just pretend like you're genuinely concerned, like you're concerned about them, concerned about the review. Did I do something wrong? And they're going to feel so guilty that they did not leave you the review, that they're going to leave you the review now. So, because even if you ask somebody for a review, particularly after they've promised you a review early in the sales process, if you delivered, they're going to want to still not leave the review because, again, they're lazy. If you get to the point where they know you're going to follow up with them until you leave the review, or make them make it, and the reason why this makes them feel so guilty is because you agreed and you're calling them back saying, is there something wrong with the link? Did I do something wrong? Blah, blah, blah. It makes them look like a liar. They don't want to look like a liar. So it's one thing blowing you off and then basically seeming like maybe, he'll just think that I didn't have time, or I didn't know what I'm doing. But when you put them on the spot like that, saying, hey, is there something wrong with the link? The only thing they can say is, I don't want to leave the damn review, because it's not like it's hard to click on a link within a text and then copy paste the text you gave them. There's no excuse at that point. They can't say, I don't know what to write. You gave them what to copy paste in there. And then, even if they did come up with that bullshit, you could just be like, oh, I'll talk you through it. Just click on this, and then you're done. And then you would literally stay on the phone with them at that point until they leave the review and you see it on your side. That is the system right there. That's going to get you the 10, 20% review rates for or 10 or 20% of the customers you get through your PPC campaigns to leave you a review. So basically, and I wrote the arrow here. Again, in summary, in the sales process, you get them to commit to a review. You call them after the delivery of the product or service to ask them if everything was okay. And when they say everything's okay, remind them that they would give you a review. Then you're going to text them a pre-written review based upon what they said when asking them if everything was all right with their order. And then you're going to follow up with them right after sending the text. If they don't leave the review within 5 minutes, ask them if the link was fine and if everything is okay, and then stay with them on the phone then until they leave the review, because basically at that point, there's nowhere else for them to go with it other than to say, I'm busy. And even if they did that, you could call them back, the next day or whatever. That's a bulletproof plan to be able to get a super high amount of people that you're dealing with to leave you reviews. So, and by the way, this is another side thing. If you were looking for referrals, the same kind of system could be used there. The time you ask for a referral is not after you've delivered the product or service. They don't want to give that to you there. There's no incentive to try to give you a name. If they have to promise to give you a review if you get results before you sell that product or service, you're 100 times, you're at least 10 times more set up to get that actual referral than if you didn't ask for that before the sale of the product or service. And so, of course, with that, you could say, hey, you would leave me a review. You'll still do that. Or you do the same thing. Is everything okay with your order? Yes. You said, Dale, that you'd give us a review. You're still willing to do that, right? And then they don't want to feel like a complete asshole because they just admitted that you did exactly what you said you would do, and that they said that they would follow through with the review if you did, and so they would be a liar if they told you no. I'm going to back out of my own what my word was here. Then you've got a really good system for getting the referrals as well. If you're in a space where like B2C services, financial planning services, burial planning services, anything like that, where essentially you're selling where referrals are big, I highly recommend this. And then obviously with your PPC, it brings up the amount of lifetime value or revenue you get per customer. When you start looking into, I get referrals 50% of the time from every customer, that might give you your edge to be able to make PPC work and be profitable versus not. Anyway, as a summary on this as well, like I said, you're going to get more results with the more reviews you get to a degree. It does taper off over time. But I have a whole separate video that talks just about the review scores that you're getting on Google, Facebook, HomeAdvisor, whatever industry-related ones you may have, and the number of reviews physically. And they're both of those things are a factor. The number of reviews you got is a factor in your conversion rates on your landing page, because that instills a higher level of trust or lower level of trust, depending on how you view that. And also the score, the average score that you got, also will affect your conversion rates on your landing pages and your PPC traffic. We know this because we ran our own study on we have 50 clients at any given time. We were able to look at hundreds of different clients where we analyzed the review scores that they had and the number of reviews that they had. And given we clearly display on landing pages that we have, because it works so well, on your landing pages before they scroll down on the page, you want your Google, your Facebook, your HomeAdvisor, all that to be listed there with the number of reviews and your score, because that is the easiest, clearest way to convey that you can be trusted than anything else that we've tested and that you can come up with. It can't be better than that, because what the average of 100 people said about you, that's as unbiased and as clear as it gets. So, but you got to have reviews obviously to make that work well. And what we found out basically, at least as it comes to the number of reviews, just getting any reviews at all, you're going to add a minimum 25% higher conversion rate on your landing page, being able to display that information that you got the review or reviews and where they came from. Like I said, usually I'll link it so that, like, if our landing page is here, we'll have our headline here, and then sub headlines, call to action. Our Google reviews will be right here. Our Facebook reviews will be right here. HomeAdvisor reviews right here, and it'll say Google and then the number of stars we have, because the number of stars show the score more visually, more better. And then it'll say like 4.6, what the average score is. And then it'll also say the number of reviews itself, because both of those pieces of information, the number of reviews and the score, impact the level of trust that the user is going to have and your conversion rates as a result. And then you would do that for Google, do it for one more, Facebook if you have it. If it's a different place you have reviews at, like Trustpilot, you put that there. Another one, an industry-related one, if you have one, like Home Advisor or a Clutch if you're your B2B business, and you put those there. And then, again, everybody knows what those are by looking at it. It's not confusing. They don't have to think about what you're giving to them there. They know what stars are, and they know what number of reviews are. And so, anyway, you have all those there, but being able to go from not doing that to doing that, you're getting a minimum of a 25% jump. Just being able to have 3 reviews. 3 reviews is not very good. I would imagine not being able to show reviews and then showing 3 reviews. Maybe it would. I thought initially it would be worse, because it's like, why do they only have 3 reviews? But it's not. It's powerful enough being able to have that on your landing page versus not having it. Even if you have between 1 and 10 reviews, you'll still get a 25% plus conversion rate bump by having that on your landing page. But if you go further than this, which like I said, the more reviews you kind of have, the more results you're going to get. If you go from 1 to 10 reviews and then jump to 10 to 100 reviews, kind of on average, we would see a 30 to 100% increase in conversion rate on the landing page that we would have, looking through a few dozen of accounts that we have and identifying what the kind of jump is between 1-digit and 2-digit number of reviews. That one was the largest jump that we've seen and is really big, because at least obviously if you go from 3 reviews to 30, at that point, okay, well, 3 people, that, I don't know, maybe they're fake reviews, but 30, that's less likely to be fake, less likely for them to get lucky, or less likely of them not being just 3 people that they asked if they were friends, to ask of their friends to leave them the reviews. But if you go further than that, you'll keep going with the results. If you can go from 2 digits to 3 digits, so 10 to 100 reviews in that range, and then you were able to break through to 100 to 1,000 reviews, or a 3-digit number of reviews. This also assumes that you're all over a 3.5. Once you're under a 3.5, all this stuff kind of breaks down. But as long as you're over a 3.5, this all applies. But if you go from then 2 digits to 3 digits in terms of the number of reviews, you can get another 20 to 100% increase in your conversion rates. On top of that increase you got going from 1-digit number of reviews to 2-digit number of reviews. So you can go from basically, what you got for a conversion rate, you may have a 2% conversion rate on your landing page. You can go to 5%, having 500 reviews from your 2%, just from the number of reviews itself, and that being a factor on your conversion rates. So lesson being, you want to get as many reviews as you can, positive ones of course, and stack them up until you have a 3-digit number of reviews. Once you get there, you get all of the spoils of what reviews can actually deliver for your business. And so if you're talking about, like I said, if you're getting another 150% in terms of additional sales and conversion rates by just having a couple hundred reviews, positive reviews at a 3.5 or higher score, average review score, then why not take advantage of it? Particularly as I just gave you the formula here on a silver platter of how to get reviews from about 10% of all the people you're dealing with more human interaction into the process, and not letting the customer wiggle out of a review that technically they should be able to give you and owe you for just bringing such a good product or service to the market and helping them out with their exact needs and actually delivering and not being one of those scumbags that just over market and under deliver their products or services. People don't look at it that way. They don't look at it as, hey, they did a good job, so they deserve a review. They just look at it, I deserve to have a good product or service. But they don't think about, what could have happened. They just deserve the good they deserve the results. And then therefore, if you get the results, or they get the results, they don't think they owe you the review. That's why you got to do it this way if you want superior, super high levels of number of reviews per customer coming in. And if you don't have many customers starting out, this is a really solid way to build up your reviews initially. If you have a lot of customers already, maybe you don't have to go to extremes. There are such extremes here, but this is a really good way to start from 0 and build up to reviews, or just get you from the 50 range to several hundred range to get the rest of the conversion rate increase you'll get going from a 2-digit number of reviews to the 3-digit number of reviews. Okay? So anyway, that's everything in a nutshell that I wanted to cover here about how to 10x the number of reviews your PPC campaigns generate, and as in the process, double your sales that you're going to get from your PPC campaigns after you've racked up, basically 100 reviews for your business itself. That's how you're going to double your sales from 10xing the number of reviews and through this process. If you like the video, I would really appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up. Like the video, as I want other people like you to be able to see this video and help them out, and of course it'll help the channel. If you like the information I gave you and want to learn more on how to be killer at PPC and make more money at PPC, you should consider subscribing to this channel, as I deliver lots of different money-making, actionable PPC strategies and advice on this channel about stuff that's working on our clients' campaigns here at our PPC firm, and in which I'm giving to you, and the stuff you'll get to see all the stuff that's working out there, today and in the future. We also give you information on what stuff to avoid that isn't working, and you're using basically millions of dollars of advertising budgets and testing to your advantage just by watching this channel and through what I share on this channel. If you want to learn a little bit more on how to do campaign setup and to make money and set up Google search campaigns and Google display campaigns and so forth, I also have a blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog with step-by-step instructions on how to build PPC campaigns the way that can get basically guarantee results, in which we actually guarantee results for our clients at our firm at Guarantee PPC, so you can see literally step-by-step what we use. And I wrote that blog myself, so if you're looking for more information to learn how to do PPC well, you can find more other information you might be able to capitalize on for your own campaigns there, and it goes more into detail, whereas on this channel we're going on a high level on the concepts and stuff that are working out there in today's environment. If you have any questions about what I just gave you here, leave me a comment down below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a day or two time. And so with that, I hope you enjoyed the video, learned a lot, and will make you some good money. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.